It's rare, unpredictable, and for almost everyone, it only happens once. But one man was struck by lightning not once, not twice, but 7 separate times. His name was Roy Sullivan. And after the third strike, people started to notice something strange. Because no matter where he went, no matter what he did, lightning kept finding him. Roy Sullivan was born in 1912 in Virginia. He spent most of his life as a park ranger, working in Shenandoah National Park, high in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a place known for its views, its ridgelines, and its storms. Storms that roll in quickly, across high ground, with nowhere to hide. And Roy's job? It kept him right in the middle of it. He patrolled mountain roads, climbed fire towers, checked trails, and spent long days under open sky. Most people experience storms from inside a house. Roy experienced them on mountaintops. And over time, that would start to matter. The first strike happened in 1942. Roy was inside a fire lookout tower, high above the forest, watching a storm roll in. The tower had no lightning rod, and during the storm, it was struck again and again. The structure began to catch fire. Smoke filled the tower, and Roy had no choice but to run. He made it outside, into the open, and that's when it happened. Lightning struck him. It hit his leg, tore through his shoe, and burned his foot. He survived, injured, shaken, but alive. For most people, that would have been the end of the story. For Roy Sullivan, it was only the beginning. Then, nothing. For 27 years. No lightning, no second strike. Until 1969, Roy was driving his truck through the mountains during a storm. Lightning struck a nearby tree, and the charge jumped into his vehicle. The bolt knocked him unconscious, burned off his eyebrows, and set his hair on fire. When he woke up, his truck had rolled dangerously close to the edge of a cliff. He survived, again. That was strike number 2. And now, something felt different, because lightning had found him. Twice. Just 1 year later, it happened again. Roy was standing in his yard when lightning struck a nearby transformer. The charge jumped and burned his shoulder. Strike number 3. Then, in 1972, it happened again. Inside a ranger station, lightning struck the building, and once again, his hair caught fire. He ran outside, desperate to put it out. Strike number 4. And by now, this wasn't just bad luck anymore. Roy started to believe lightning was following him. Word started to spread. Other rangers talked about it. People began to recognize his name. They gave him a nickname, the Human Lightning Rod. Some even kept their distance, because by now, it didn't feel normal. It didn't feel random. It felt like something else. And lightning wasn't finished with him. In 1973, Roy noticed a storm forming while he was on patrol. He got into his truck and tried to drive away. But later, he said something strange. The cloud seemed to be following him. When he finally stepped out, lightning struck again. It knocked off his shoe and set his hair on fire. This time, Roy was ready. He kept a jug of water with him, just in case it happened again. 3 years later, it did. Strike number 6. Another burn, another fire, another survival. Then came the final strike, June 25th, 1977. Roy was fishing, alone, when a storm moved overhead. Lightning struck him again. The bolt burned his chest, and once again his hair caught fire. He survived for the 7th time. No one else in recorded history has ever survived that many lightning strikes. So the question remains, was Roy Sullivan cursed? Probably not. The most likely explanation is exposure. He spent decades outside, in storm-prone mountains, in the worst possible conditions for lightning. But even then, 7 strikes doesn't feel possible. And that's why the story still lingers, because at some point, probability stops making sense. Roy Sullivan retired in 1976. He died in 1983 at the age of 71. Not from lightning, but from something else entirely. Today, pieces of his story remain. Burned ranger hats, old photographs, and a record that still hasn't been broken. A man struck by lightning 7 times. Roy Sullivan never chased storms. He never tried to make history. He was just a park ranger doing his job. And somehow, lightning kept finding him again and again and again. If you enjoy strange, true stories like this, consider subscribing. There's always more just waiting to be told.